Well, here we are. This is always so weird to me. Um, if you're joining us for the first time, I am Melissa McLeod here at the Will and the Floss in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, and along with my friend Megan at the Needlepoint Clubhouse. Together we do this thing we call the Pointing It Out podcast. And today I get to have one of my good friends here. Anne works with me here, and what we're here to talk about today are button covers. And so I'll just give you a little preview of where we're going with this. Can I pull this off the wall? I thought this was a really good idea. Now it's like all sticking together.
Yeah.
So Anne is, we call her around here the queen of the button cover. So we're going to dive into like what all these are, how they came to be, how you self-finish them, because I know so many people are interested in self-finishing right now. We're going to do a live demo. And give you all the tools you need to know why you want to do these, and then more importantly, how to do them. So, all that said, did I say where Megan was from with the Needlepoint Clubhouse? I
Yes.
did. Okay,
Yes.
good. I get into my, rigmarole, and then
That's
I
right.
kind of forget. So, here with us today is my good friend Ann Nybor, and Ann has worked at the Will and the Floss far longer than I have. On and off for 22 years, did we figure out? But more on than off. But
Right. 20 since 99. So
yeah. So she is a very talented individual in many, many ways. So why don't you give us a little bit about your background and where you've lived, what you've done, how you've ended up here, all that good stuff.
So by trade, I am still a nurse. I still have my license. So I'm a pediatric ICU, neonatal ICU, transport, cardiac cath, all pediatric critical care nurse.
That's
And
amazing.
I've been a nurse for, this is, oh my gosh, 40 years now.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy.
83. Yeah. So 40 years. And anyway, so then I moved around a lot with my job and I ended up here. Too many long stories, but I'm here in Michigan and I've been here for a long time, since 91.
Okay.
So growing up, my mother tried to teach me to knit, couldn't get it.
Oh, that's hysterical because she's going to get to the point where she won't say it, but I'll say it. She's an expert knitter. But go ahead.
Yeah. So my mom tried to teach me to knit. I couldn't knit. So when I was in nursing school, I taught myself to crochet. Prior to that, I had done one. I did a lot of cross stitch with my mom growing up. So that was like, did a lot of that cross stitch. So I was good at counting and putting threads together and mixing threads and doing all kinds of stuff. I did in nursing school, when you're a knitter and you make the boyfriend sweater, you just don't do that because the boyfriend goes away. So my one needlepoint project was a college pillow, the
Classic emblem.
the classic crest
Right.
of the university, had it done. Yeah. Gone. So
Does he still have the pillow? Do we know? Or we don't know?
he better. I'm sure he does. I'm sure he does. It was a nice pillow. Anyway, so then I taught myself, then I was in nursing school, taught myself how to crochet, crocheted a lot of stuff. And then fast forward, and then I moved, I'm working and I'm busy working, living in a lot of different places, whatever. Then in 98, a nurse practitioner, wife of one of the docs I worked with was a nurse practitioner, pediatric nurse practitioner. So she's like, I want to take knitting. I said, I want to take knitting too. So we came here to the Will and the Floss.
Oh, with our old owner, Jean?
With Jean.
Okay.
And we were in
our prior owner, I should say.
Yeah. We were in not Jean's class, but Jean ended up, the person we had left. So we ended up, and Jean inherited us. So we were with Jean. And then one night, then during that time, I was making 2 needlepoint stockings for my husband and I. And we didn't have any kids to have the kids in. Anyway, so I was finishing them myself.
So
in
you
knitting
stitched
class.
two needlepoint stockings?
Yes.
I didn't.
This
good for you.
Mini stockings.
Oh, I thought you meant like the big kahunas.
No,
okay.
No, mini stockings.
Got it. Okay.
Stitched those and I was finishing myself at knitting. She's like, wait, you needlepoint too? It's like, well, I know how. I'm not really good at it, but I mean, my stuff looked okay, but I need help. Can you work here? And so I was working part-time. Anyway, long story short, I ended up working here every Friday with Jean.
Nice.
And nobody wanted, we weren't busy back then, and Jean was a knitter and everybody came in with knitting help for her. So I learned from watching Jean teach other people. So
she was
just
incredibly talented.
Right. So I just took, that in. And then when we got the girls in 2000, adopted twins, I didn't really work here, but I would cover shifts for Beth and cover classes for Beth and,
So that's the off and on. So she, like I
That's the
said,
off and on.
more on than off, because I became a customer here. I don't even know when. It doesn't really matter. But
Yeah.
in my lifetime of being a customer of jeans, like you were always like sometimes here, but
Yeah.
always a part of the picture.
Yes, always kind of in the crowd. Yes. And then later was, I don't know, just here more than not teaching classes, because then I had a class of my own. And then that class kind of dissolved and nobody came back, and then I would still sub. So
And then when I came to own the shop, you really weren't working here.
I wasn't working here, but then I was teaching the classes, then COVID hit, and then you're like, well, can you work here during the
I
day?
think I maybe begged. I think I maybe begged. I'm
So
not beyond groveling.
Yeah, right. I need help on Thursday. Okay, so Thursdays it's been,
So what we've covered is Anne is an experienced cross stitcher, an experienced needlepointer, experienced knitter, and an experienced crocheter. Not to mention the fact that she's like saved babies and really important things besides all our craft stuff.
Yeah.
But we love all that. So
and a scrapbooker, avid
oh yeah, I forgot
stamper and
that.
scrapbooker.
Yes, and I
You'll
used
see
to
my
do that as well,
tools are
so.
like that too. So
So what happened? I want to say like 2.5 years ago, maybe. When did Patty Paints, in my mind, kind of re-energized the thought of a needlepoint button cover.
right.
Other people had probably done it, but Patty Bomarito, and she's been on the podcast. She kind of dove into that, and think about 2 years ago. Does that
Maybe
sound
two.
sense?
Me too. Not maybe not quite, but about two.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so somehow you came across her, right? Is that how you're
I am the queen of instant gratification.
no. Look at all these that Anne has stitched. I don't even think these are all of them, because you've given a number away as gifts, haven't you?
Oh yeah, that's right. I have. So these are Patty's up here. This is Color of Praise. This is Eye Candy. This is Patty's, and this I made for Melissa. Just kind of made a monogram and just kind of did it myself. But when I knitted, I was the queen of toys. I love toys. I could make a toy, put it together, crochet toys. I like instant gratification. Something small, something to finish, done. So that's why I like the buttons. Plus, I like the idea that you can interchange them, put them on things, put them on, like this one has a button back, and I took it off the pillow it was on, put it back on the pillow it was
There you
on.
go.
So anyway, I just like, you can finish something in a couple of days. The finishing itself doesn't take a lot of time. Stitching 2 days maybe,
Right.
depending on what you're doing for the background.
So I feel like we should back up a step, because you and I are both like button covers. Maybe
Right.
nobody knows what we're talking about.
Right.
So where's the ones that come from Brits? These are the original piece, and it's called a half ball cover button. Half ball cover button cover,
Right.
I think is the whole name. And they come in numerous sizes. This is the 2.5 inch, and to my knowledge, this is the largest they come.
Correct.
So they come smaller. And somehow, I'm sure these have been around forever, but Patty Bomarito of Patty Paints
Yeah.
kind of glommed onto this idea in all the best ways. And it's just a super inexpensive device. It has this like ziggity zaggity like grabbers. You guys know I always have my technical terms. And then it's backing, and you can put them together, and you can leave the button shank that's in here, or doesn't this just pinch and it pops right out? So what Anne has done in many of these is attached a neodymium, am I saying that right? Magnet to the back using a little E6000. So then this doesn't have two sides to it. It just has one side, because it only needs one side. But it can attach to anything metallic, or you can leave the button shank in, and you can put it on a pillow like you've done with that one,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Dumb question. Could you take this off and swap out one with a magnet?
Okay.
Like, how flexible are these?
No, this is a button.
So once you make it a button cover, it's a button.
It's a button.
Or once you make it into a magnet, it's a magnet.
Correct.
So that part isn't super flexible, but where
Correct.
you put them afterwards is super flexible.
And this I use because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do with it. I actually put a little clip under on a lid and put a clip underneath so it stays there versus magnet. So, because I wasn't sure where I was going with this one.
Right.
So,
Well, and what I love about these is so many people want to give needlepoint as a gift.
right.
And first of all, finishing, if you send it to a professional finisher, takes a good long while.
Yes.
And just call a spade a spade. It is not inexpensive. But
No.
you can buy one of Patty's button covers. I've got a couple here. Let's see. So the button cover itself and the canvas is $60.
Right.
And a lot of them, the base is basically you're stitching like 2 and 3.
It's a 3-inch round.
So a 3-inch round where 2 3/4 shows is where I was going with that.
Yeah.
So I should write it up, but it is backwards to everyone. Anyways, so for $60, you can make a nice gift. And if it's a button cover, you can like run to your like local home goods store and buy a pre-made pillow that coordinates, right? So you can have a very inexpensive, but very nice gift.
Right. And I just found out, and I did not bring it with me, and I should have, is Ball Jars makes a wooden little lid to go on top of a
Mason jar.
a
type
mason
thing.
jar. And it has just an indent, and this fits exactly in the indent.
Yes, I've seen that before.
And
so
I
it's
did
another
that
clever way to use it.
Thanksgiving, and I did Patty's pumpkin one, and put a big ribbon around it and gave my friend the jar.
Oh, cute. And
So-
then she can use it to store whatever.
Whatever,
and
yep.
Yes, that's fabulous. That's
Yep.
fabulous. So I just think there's a lot of flexibility with these. We sell, and I think a lot of needlepoint stores do as well. We sell the basic button cover, and then we sell the kits that Patty Paints does. And they're all sorts of different themes, varieties. But people come into the store and they look at them and they're like, oh, I don't know, that finishing looks hard.
Right.
And so you have talked a number of our customers through
Oh, yeah.
how to finish them. I think
Yeah.
the first couple times you did it, you connected with Patty, and didn't you trade some like little tips with her maybe?
Well, I kind of, yeah, I did what she did, but then I showed her different things I had done, and then she used like the glow in the dark threads on the skull. And it glows in the dark. It does glow in the dark. So,
Fun.
yeah. So anyway, and then just the fact that you can use any 3-inch round, and I'll show you some of those in a bit, but you know, those, you can do anything you want.
Well, good.
Anything you want.
Well, good. Well, I think, like I said, some people are really intrigued by them, but then they're kind of scared to finish them. But
Right.
I haven't done one before. So it's gonna be like when Liz did some self-finishing and she did all the hard work and I asked the dumb questions. That's why I'm here. So Anne is going to show us
Yep.
what to do. So now you guys get to see my technical views. We're gonna try to pin this, we're gonna pin Anne's hands.
My hands.
So we can
yes.
talk about the tools she uses in order to get this done. And then she's gonna do a walkthrough. You can shift your chair over if that's easier for you, because I'll just be in this little screen asking the dumb
Okay.
questions.
So, like Melissa said, the button, got to figure out how to show this.
It's
here.
gonna be mirroring, so it'll
Okay.
be a little confusing.
So
but we'll get
you
it.
just squeeze this. And pop it out
There we
when
go.
it's done. Now the reason, if you're a sewer, or you grew up with your mom sewing or your grandma or whatever, you know these buttons, because back then we didn't have fun buttons to put on things. They used the fabric, they put them on. So that's where it came from, especially the smaller ones.
See, I never knew that. Not my mom's, so my mother's mother, my grandmother, made everything my mom wore.
Me too. My mom made all ours too.
And my mom then said, I'm never wearing a homemade item again. Like, I think if you grew up that
Right.
that's what you had. My mom's
Right.
mother was divorced in the 1950s, which just didn't happen. So
Right.
she made her clothes then out of necessity because it was cheaper than to
Right.
buy clothes.
Right.
So then my mom never wanted to learn how to sew. And so therefore my experience in sewing is home ec in 8th grade.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Wow.
we digress.
That's right. We digress. So, I have so many weirdo tools, like eventually, so scissors you need, this is scrapbook days. This is a dental tool from a garage sale. This is from the cath lab they get rid of them, throw them out. So
But I think
And they're
there's
not
lots of
used?
basic things like,
Right.
so you just want like something with a pointy tip that's pointy but not sharp,
Yeah,
right?
this is like to flatten your edges,
Okay,
cutting. This is, if, as Liz uses the butter knife, this is Liz's butter knife
okay,
here. This is
so
what I
something
use
with a dull
to
edge.
poke in the canvas.
And those are kind of
Um,
basic, I mean,
just
basic
basic
tweezers
tweezers.
would work.
Yes, yeah.
And then the mini wonder clips.
Mini wonder clips, just in case you want, when you're centering, if it's something that has to be centered, so you can put it on and, oops. Anyway, put it on and center it before you actually put into the
Perfect.
clippies.
Okay, so the first thing you want to do is pick your button cover. We'll talk some about that in a little bit. And then it was really funny because when we started this, Anne's like, well, I'll just start cutting it because everybody knows how to do that. I go, no. There's so many people that are scared to
Right.
cut their canvas. So I made her pause because what's easy for her isn't always easy for the rest of us.
Right.
So she has stitched her button cover.
Yes.
Do you tend to pick like more basic stitches because it's gonna round?
I do. And everything I've done is all just basket weave.
Okay, and I think it would probably be okay if you used, well, you'd have a cute stitch. Oh no, wait, just
No.
maybe cute thread. So they're all
Yeah.
just cute threads, but you could probably do something interesting for like the object.
Right.
But I think because these bend around the edges, you probably want basic basket weave, 10
Right.
stitch, continental, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
So that like weird things don't pop out because now you're curving something over a hard object, right?
Right.
Okay.
And so when Patty, with her kits, this is the 3-inch round.
All right, you're
And
smart. You got a ruler. Good job.
do.
More than I
The
do.
3-inch round, and then this is out to about 4 1/4. So it's just a little out on either side.
Okay.
This one I'm doing was Patty's, but it wasn't a button cover, made for a button cover, but it's a 3-inch round.
Got it.
So, and I am Irish and wanted
Sterling.
one for St. Patrick's Day.
Okay.
So I drew my circle on the back.
And I'm sorry, how big is that circle? 4 1/4? Is that
4
what you just told
1/4.
me? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it's just enough to come out. And the other thing is too, just because I know people are fussy.
Got it.
When some of these, when you go to do them, the
edges show a tiny
edge
bit.
show a
Which
little
is
bit.
the back.
It's just the back. What I do, because the neonatal in me is weird, I'd come out on your border a little bit.
Okay.
It's gonna tuck under and go in. So you're not gonna mess up the stitching
So
or
that
whatever.
4 1/4, you really want to cut just outside the 4 1/4?
No. When you're stitching your 3-inch round, I
Oh.
stitch more of the 3.
So maybe like 2 extra rows. we have
2.
the 3
Yeah,
inch.
that's 2 is what I tend to do.
Okay.
More than the 3-inch round,
Okay.
just because I like it to be
Well, it's just like with any
the pink
other,
one. Let me hand it up.
it's just like with any other thing. People always ask, do you need extra rows? And we usually say no. In
Yeah.
this case, I think you need 2 extra rows. Right?
If you want, and I think more recently Patty's have accommodated that. So
She's made
I think
adjustments.
she's made adjustment, because the one I did for Thanksgiving, I didn't have to do extra rows. So
Okay.
anyway, it's just, I know people are gonna say that, like, oh, you can still see the back. It's okay, because it's on something.
Right.
It really
because
doesn't
in
matter.
this case, from the front, you guys can see that you can't see anything on the back. You can see a little bit of the white halo of the canvas.
Right.
And I did, what someone could even take like a dent pens in orange and cover it up
Absolutely.
if they really wanted to.
Right.
Anyways,
Exactly. So then you just cut, don't be afraid. Doesn't have to be
if
a
you
perfect
have
circle.
not cut canvas before, the very first time it's scary and then it's really easy after that. But
Yes.
I think it's intimidating the first time.
It is intimidating, but
But you've
once
got a
you get-
nice broad area there. You're not super close to the stitching, so that's
Oh,
less scary.
definitely, definitely. So here's where the centering comes. So, I keep wanting to look at it like this, but it's actually, this is the way she painted it, but I think you
Interesting.
can do it any way you
Yeah,
want.
it's circular.
So now it's just, you just kind of fold it where you can see, it's a little fussy in the beginning, so that you can center it. And again, when you have an object, that's the harder part, is the centering, versus
Right.
when you have something like this, it's not about centering necessarily. So that looks pretty good there.
That's where your little wonder clips come into
That's where
play,
my
because you're gonna
wonder
hold
clip's
them
gonna
and then you
go.
can study it a little bit, make adjustments, because you've
Yeah.
done nothing so far,
Right.
really.
Nope. So now I want,
Nothing that can't be undone.
right, so now I'm here. And here. So.
I'll bring your wonder clips closer to you.
Might wanna go. But, and it's the way it's done, so I don't even think I need to, because she painted it that way, so it's not gonna be centered perfectly because the piece isn't. So there you go. That look good?
Looks good to me.
Looks good. Now it's gonna go there and that there, so perfect. Okay, so now it's the hard part, but it's not really hard.
So you're not putting any more wonder clips on there. You just know that this one is holding everything in place.
Yeah.
So you're.
And I
you're-
can, if you want to see, so you can see it.
You kind of do them at like 6:12 and
Yeah.
3 o'clock and 9 o'clock.
Yeah. And I kind of don't really do this at home, but where's this going?
Well, we want everyone to be comfortable doing it
Right,
first. So you
exactly.
can get a better view of like really how it's happening.
Right, so that's how it's gonna look.
Cute.
Goes in.
Okay.
Okay, so.
And you don't
now-
put any sort of like padding or anything underneath, like some other
I
needlepoint
suppose you could if you
finishes
wanted
do?
to, if you wanted it to look out
Puffier.
puffier, you could
But-
put a thing of, a layer
or
of
something.
the felt or the, stuff you make quilts out of, the batting,
The batting.
the soft batting, so.
But then you probably also need extra rows then, right? Okay.
There you go.
Just to get it all out there.
Right, yeah, that's it. So here's the fussy part, is you're bringing it in. And can you see my?
Yep,
hands?
yep.
Okay.
That's
so
why I'm trying to look at the screen and not at you, so I know that
Right,
everyone's seeing.
so you're. Bringing
So
it
you're
in,
kind of pushing the canvas into those zigzags, is that right?
yep, the teeth,
Yeah, I'm calling them zigzags. They really are teeth.
claws,
That's a
teeth,
better
yeah.
term.
And I don't want to go too much because, it's about how, because when you do around, then you take your clips off, then you're fussing around,
So you're doing like a little bit of layering of the canvas on top of each other.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. So right,
And I think, again, I'm venturing into territory that I'm not really comfortable with. I have self-finished once. So a lot of times I believe when you do any sort of regular finishing of a round, you cut like little zigzags in there. You don't need to do that.
not in here.
Okay.
In other things you do.
Okay. But that's not necessary here.
No,
Okay. So you're
And-
just gonna kind of let
and
it
there was
fold
no
on top
rhyme or-
of it. That's
yeah.
it.
But there was no rhyme or reason to my extra rows. I just kind of brought them out. Like, kind of 2 stitches around for this one.
So, and again, Anne's using this fancy dental instrument, but she said,
Yeah,
a little butter
the
knife.
butter knife
from
like
your,
Liz uses.
your cheese, like when you have a cheese tray, like
Yes.
that kind of thing.
Yes, rounded blunt knife, like
Okay.
the cheese. So now it's just about going around and everything. Once you get it in here, you kind of just fudge it in.
And then
See,
kinda-
you can see how I'm overlapping down under here. See that?
So you're kind of pushing it under that little lip.
Yeah,
of
I'm trying to catch the
the
teeth, because that's gonna be important when I go to put the button thing on. It has to have the teeth.
So what you guys might not be able to see, and hopefully you can see up here because I'm super little, but these teeth, they're not sticking up and out. They're like curved in. So they're not that sharp, but the sharpest part of them is on the interior, like right
Yep,
when I reach inside. So Anne's trying to get those little teeth that aren't sticking up. They're sticking over, if that makes sense,
yep,
for her canvas to grab onto the overside. So she's tucking her canvas underneath
yep,
those little teeth. Hopefully that makes sense.
yep.
When you have a button cover in your hand, or if you've worked with them before, it is very logical, but I didn't
Right.
actually see that initially. Of course,
Ah.
we all know my eyes aren't the best, so.
This, this tool is invaluable.
It's so funny how we all have like these weirdo little items that we don't even necessarily know where they came
Right.
from, but they work for like the
Yeah.
task at hand.
Totally. I mean, this end, just digressing, so this is like a little point end or whatever. I use this to part Grace's hair when I flat iron her hair.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, because it's not
So
sharp.
if that tool goes missing, Ann starts flipping out.
I do. I totally do. Well, I'm the only one that does her hair, so
That's so funny.
you know that culture, they don't do that. Everybody helps. A family thing. All right. So it's a little fussy, but we'll get there. It's just about getting these teeth through because in order to grasp this, the teeth have to come through the canvas.
So one thing I'm noticing is, and I don't think this is going to affect that many people, but you have to have a little bit of hand strength. Like you're
Yeah.
kind of working it. So if you're someone who has like super arthritic hands
Yeah.
and you have a hard time like really grasping things, this might not be the thing for you.
Correct.
Because
You have to poke it and
Yeah.
push and yeah.
and of course you're also probably doing this quicker than you would if you were doing it on your own time,
Probably.
which we appreciate. So thank you for that.
No worries.
But yeah, so
But now
it's
I have
taken-
my St. Patrick's Day in one.
Oh, you'll be all set. When is St. Patrick's Day this year? Is it always, so dumb question. Is it always the 16th of March?
17th, darling.
17th? What do I know? Sorry, McLeod. I'm Scottish. Actually, I'm not even Scottish. My husband's Scottish. I
Right.
don't know. I'm a Heinz 57. We did that 23andMe and
Yeah.
came back and I'm like a whole lot of everything.
I think a whole lot of everything on my mother's side, but Irish on my dad's.
So what was your maiden name?
Boyle.
Okay.
It's pretty Irish.
Yeah. Just doesn't have an O in front of it.
It did. And they dropped it when they got here.
So we don't want to be identified anymore. We want to just melt right in.
That's right.
Because in those days that's what everyone wanted to do. It's all changed now. We know
Yeah.
this, but
Yeah.
times are different.
Yeah. There's another one of me here in Grosse Pointe, Ann Boyle here in Grosse Pointe. I used to get her Talbot packages.
Oh, it's too funny. And I'm gonna have to remember her name. There's a book podcaster that I think that's her name too,
Oh, wow.
that I listen to all the time. Modern Mrs. Darcy. I think her name is Ann Boyle, but I'll have to check that. Don't quote me on that, people. We're still watching this button covering. Hopefully you guys are stitching along and watching
Right.
this. I think this is the
Once I get
hardest
it in, then
part.
I'll go around and reinforce, but right now I just wanted to catch, which is, am I in focus still?
You sure are.
Okay, good.
Yep. I'm watching you. So if you, are you gonna do this one as a button cover or magnet? What have you decided?
Magnet.
Okay, so then do you keep this little doohickey for any reason?
No.
This is the shank. Is that what you would call this? The shank
Yep.
to the
Yep.
button cover?
Yep.
So that's probably going in the recycling bin.
Yep. That's where it goes.
Okay.
I have a couple extra just in case. Yeah, I would need it for something, but
Have you ever broken one taking them out or they're pretty sturdy?
they're sturdy.
Okay.
I've snapped my fingers and cut myself taking
Ouch.
them off, but
So again, back to you have to have a little bit of hand strength to do
Yeah.
this.
okay, so now I'm in. So here where the stitching was is where I have to. Did you like that move?
Yes, little flipperoonie. Now everyone's gonna be like, I need a dental device.
My God.
And it's probably like,
My-
I'm gonna guess like, 20 years old, no one could even find something like that now.
Oh, this is way more than that. 'cause this-
I didn't
this-
want to get in trouble by going
this
any further.
dentist died and it was my friend's next door neighbor. So she had to sell all his stuff and I got all kinds of really cool looking
That's so funny.
tools. Mirrors, the mirrors. My husband uses those on the boat.
I went to the dentist this morning, again, probably way too much information, but they have I had a new hygienist and all of her tools have little lights on them
I
now.
know, isn't that amazing?
And that I don't think was 6 months ago when I was there. So I don't know, maybe I just didn't notice, I'm one-eyed, so I only see half of what's going on.
Oh my gosh, you're funny. Only me who has 4 friends with one eye.
That's bizarre.
3 have prosthetics and
Oh
you
no,
don't.
I got the real deal.
Yeah.
Because I have a slight amount of vision, but
Yeah.
it doesn't really count.
And all 3 for different reasons.
Interesting. Well, people get very concerned when they start losing a sight in their eyes for obvious reasons, but I always say, well, is it both of your eyes or just one? And if they say it's just one, and then I tend to write it off, which I don't think they like hearing from me very much, but I'm like, oh, what? It's no big deal.
Well, yeah.
But if it's all I've ever known. So I just
Sure.
don't really think
Exactly.
about it. It just
Exactly.
is what it is.
Okay, so now I'm going around and I'm just making sure I can feel the claws. The teeth, they're actually technically called teeth. When I go around, so I feel some.
Because
some are
those
not.
teeth, I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen. Those teeth are going to hold this backing in place
Yeah, you just
as well as holding the canvas in place. They're kind of double duty.
kind of double duty, but you want to make sure. The reason you want to make sure that this is in is because it could impede the button popping. The back, when you go to pop it in, it could impede that because it's too puffy
Okay.
to, if that
So it's
makes
not going to
sense.
snap together the right way.
Correct. So I'm just trying to get it, down. And
Okay.
it seems fussy, but I mean, I've only been doing this a few minutes here, so it's really not that
No.
long. And, once you get your thing centered, so you can see the teeth here coming through. So it's just these.
So you need all of them all the way through, or just most of them some of the way through?
Pretty much all of them, most of the way through. Again, it'll impede. When I go to pop this in, this ridge goes in. Okay.
Oh, so that's
So
good
if
to know.
there's more canvas blocking it from snapping in, it won't snap in.
So let's talk about that for just 1 second, because this, it's kind of like the top of a paint can is what this is reminding me of. Where am I? Here I am. And so there's the one side has like the hill on it, and the other side has the valley. It's the best, except I'm not even in the screen. I'm gonna do it over here by my face.
Yeah.
So one side has the hill where it's up, and one side kind of has the valley, kind of like a contact lens in some ways. And you want the outer side of it is, you'll see the valley. Is that correct?
You see the valley on the
Okay.
outside. Yep.
Yes. So that is something that I'm sure I would get to. It's kind of like you go to replace a battery in like something that takes
Right.
one of the dime size type batteries.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, which way was up or down? And again, back to not being able to see. So I always try to keep track of the plus side and the minus side, so I
Right.
don't have to read the little writing.
Well, and the other night I was here with Kaylee. She stayed late with me and we had fun conversations, but I kept calling the magnets batteries because they look like
Oh, they
batteries.
do.
And I
They
kept
do.
calling them.
So these, I'm going to measure these actually. I'm going to reach over you, or you're going to, thank you. So the neodymium magnets are, they're also called earth magnets, I think is correct. I think I've heard them called earth magnets as well. And Anne has really nice big ones. These are about 1 inch and 1/8, it looks like.
Yeah.
Do they come in, I know they come in different diameters. There we go. Yes, that's the right word. Do they come in different thicknesses? Like
Not
side?
generally, they may, but not generally.
Okay, so
But-
if you're looking for magnets and
Right.
you order 1.25 inch
Right.
neodymium
Yep.
magnets, you're going to end up with the right thing. So I think it's cute.
Okay.
Can you undo them now? Like if you decide you've made a mistake, can you fix it?
Maybe.
Maybe.
We're
finding out. This is on screen. So you are, so you are trying to take it kind of out of the teeth now.
And
So
it's working.
I don't know if you all noticed that, but Anne had decided that it wasn't actually centered. So at what point can't you undo your work?
Maybe now.
Sorry, I guess I'll be stitching a shamrock for Anne. Maybe she's had a stage fright. I'm not sure, because every other one is perfect.
Well, and again, I picked a hard one, but that's what I had to do it. It'll be fine.
We were supposed to film this episode a little while ago, and she had stitched her cute little Santa. Can you guys see how cute he is? And was all ready to go. And then I can't remember what went on in our world. Something went on in our worlds, and we ended up not being able to do it. And she's like, well, too bad, because I need to have my Santa done for Christmas. So then she decided to do the shamrocks, which.
So this looks messy, but it came out. So anything is on the wrong side, it's good. So now I can see where I made my how I did this.
So do you think you over pulled in one direction or wasn't it exactly centered to start with,
It
or not really sure?
wasn't exactly, I guessed on the side and it was too much. So now I
Okay.
see.
So the good news is,
Use
again,
those-
what's our camera telling us? It's still working over here. You're good.
Okay,
There
but
you go.
now it'll be easier to get in this time. So
Okay.
again, now you're fussy. So, you just have to kind of fuss. And that side's going in first.
So the other thing I could do too, if you want, is I can pause the recording and you can restuff.
Okay.
Does that sound good? Okay.
All right.
So I'm going to pause this for a second and we'll be right back as soon as we're back to where we were when it was uncentered, but now it's going to be centered. Okay, so we're back in action. Anne has now recentered it. I think we were only paused for maybe like 6 minutes or
Yeah,
something. It didn't
not
take
long.
very long, but we just figured you guys didn't need to see how to do it a second time.
Right. So this is what it looks like inside. So these all overlap in there. I can feel the teeth, which is what you
Okay.
want to feel.
Good.
And the point of pushing in is just so that I can pop this guy in.
So if you flip it over, so last time, just flip the basic one over. Because
Oh.
last time she had this over and she flipped it over and she's like, oh no,
I had
it's
too
not.
much down here, it was centered, it was going this way, so
I
I
felt like it wasn't perfectly centered. So you can redo if you need
can
to.
redo.
So that was good.
Yeah.
Is that the first time you've had to redo it?
Yes.
Okay, well, how about that?
So much for that.
That's
But
okay.
it's doable because everything's inside, so you can muck up that and it,
Right.
as long,
It's darling. Okay,
Yes,
so next
okay.
step is,
Next step is to take the lid,
and
the
you want the
button.
valley up,
um,
right?
the valley up, the
Now-
fountain.
And if the shank were in there, you'd be lining that little hole up over the shank, obviously. The shank would be sticking through that.
Yeah, you just put it through and
Right.
then pop. Yep.
Okay, so what Anne was telling me while we were paused is she's like, we might have to do this next step together because it takes a lot of hand strength. So I
It
said, oh my
does.
gosh, so people should find a friend who stitches and do them together.
Right.
Do you want me to take two sides
Well,
and you
I'm
take two
trying to
sides, so you
see
got it?
if I can. Sometimes I can, and then sometimes
Do
I
you
can't.
make your husband help you or?
always, yes. Okay,
I'm
so
gonna push here.
you're gonna take this side that's already in here and here and hold that.
Okay, but hold on, we're not in the screen. We gotta be on
Oh,
the screen for
whoopsie.
people.
And my hands are here.
So am I pushing down? Is that all? I
Just
do?
hold it
That'd
because
be-
you're
oh,
in. This
I
is
was
the
like,
side
yeah,
that,
I've got the easy job.
that isn't in.
Do you want me
This
to
is-
do the harder side?
Sure.
My hands probably aren't sore at this point, like yours might be. Oh, I can feel it's like a little
See?
wiggly.
Yeah,
Ooh,
and it's just, and I usually I try not to use tools, but if I use a tool, like if I use a plier, I
because then you
wrap
can
it,
dent them.
you can dent them.
Yeah.
But not so much.
I
the
don't
edge.
know. I don't think I can do it, Ann. I'm sorry.
That's okay. We'll get
I
there.
thought I had pretty strong hands. I guess I know I don't now.
Anyway, we'll just pretend that it's on because it's in, it's just gonna pop off. Okay, so that's it.
Cute. And then if you decide you want to put a magnet on it, what's
Then
that step?
here's the magnets. I have two because you've got the one you're gonna glue onto here with the E6000 or however it's upside down.
And it's upside down, but that's okay.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, so the E6000. So I just put that on here. And then, these magnets, even though they're very strong, they're fragile. They
Oh,
can break.
interesting.
I have a broken one at home in my drawer because all the
Oh,
magnets got together. So I just glue him on here. right here.
okay.
And then I have the other one,
Oops.
if you're gonna put it through something.
So some
so-
people I know have said like they'll put it on either side of a rattan purse. Will that work?
Depending on the thickness of the rattan.
Okay.
It definitely depends.
And then I also have my personal viewpoint that I wouldn't want a magnet in my purse. That's just
Right.
Melissa McLeod is super like,
Right.
I know I'm going to be the one whose my phone's going to be all screwed up because I didn't
Right.
I put my phone next to a magnet.
So here is what this will go on in my bathroom. And this hangs in my bathroom all the time, this little purse.
So that's something that we have sold before. I think we have one available right now.
Yeah.
And it's designed to be a little girl's purse, which I think
Right.
is super cute. Because as you can see, it's about 4.5 inches around and it does open and you can put stuff inside of it. But it's also just a really cute ornament hanger. So in
That's what
this
I like it
case-
as. And I use it to keep, I put essential oils in my bathroom on the felt and ball, and here's the magnet that I keep in there when I,
And here was me, I was
Trade it
thinking it
out.
was a cat toy.
well, they are cat toys. If the cats get them, they are cat toys.
Yes,
And they
yes.
do get them. So there's that. So
Darling.
that's how that goes.
Okay, so I love it. So we've talked a little bit about, I'm gonna unpin the hands.
Okay.
If I can figure out how to do it. Always, maybe I can
I
pin
like this one. That's pretty.
Sorry.
And this one is by Patty, just not in a button kit, but it was a 3-inch round, so it worked.
Let's see. Okay, so I think I'm gonna try to make us big again. If
Okay.
I can do this. I'm not very, I don't know, I think we can, yeah, there we go. So you can pop back over here with me. So Patty Paints, as we've said before, does these whole little kits where you've got the canvas with the 3-inch design and then the 4 1/4 inch
Mhm.
outline.
Yep.
And the directions and the button cover. They all
Right.
come together. But you can pretty much use any 3-inch design, right? So I think you pulled a couple that, sorry, you guys are seeing my nose because we have things in the wrong spot. So, you know, anything in your stash that's 3 inches, as long as there isn't a lot of design near the edge, like a design that you can lose.
Correct.
So, because it wraps around. So,
Right. See, this one's good here because you can add the rows for the border. You can add a couple extra gold rows. So
so that one's 13 mesh. Does it make a difference if it's 13 mesh or 18 mesh?
just
They
as
both work?
size. Mhm.
Okay. So, and then, that's from Ann Fisher, of course. Ann pulled this, one. This is very similar, but this is from a different designer. So I think that would be super cute.
Yep.
The darling bee. Thank you, Ann. Did you
And
have
that
in
one-
charge of this
Yes,
for
I
me?
have that one at home too. I'm gonna do, and I would do definitely 2 more green rows around that one. It's a little shy of 3, so I would
Okay.
just add a couple more rows
Right.
in that one.
So make sure there are 3 plus a couple rows. So anything, you know, that, oh, this would be really cute. Look at this with those little
Yeah.
hearts, and you could add your initial or something in the middle. It'd be
Yeah.
super cute. So if you're gonna do it with a 3-inch round, then all you need is the 2.5-inch ball cover.
Yep.
So if you have something in your stash that's a 3-inch round, this is a $6 addition. Like it's $5.75. So,
Right.
it's super easy. And then the magnets, I feel like you see them in sets, like you usually buy
Yeah,
like
it's
10
a,
of
it's
them
a
or
tube,
something like that.
10 or 15 or 10 or 12, I think. And you know, they're $16, $18 for the
Yeah,
magnets.
so the
it's
magnets
roughly-
might be the most expensive part,
right.
but you'll be able to use them for lots of things.
Lots of things.
Yeah. So, and I know Patty, she has lots of samples. She's Patty Paints. Is there an underscore maybe on Instagram?
Nope, I don't think so. Just Patty Paints.
Okay, so she has showed a demo on Instagram, but that was a little while ago. So I thought it'd be fun to have Ann, who has learned a lot over all this time of
Right.
doing like probably 20 of them. You've probably done
10.
10?
10.
10 that you own, but I think you've given
Oh,
some away.
Yeah, maybe 2 or 3.
Ann is very generous with her gifting of her
Oh,
craft.
yeah, I did give anyone.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but again, it's instant gratification. It's just about how, you know, it's a quick gift. I mean, the stitching takes the longest once you get the stitching done,
Right.
you know. And some of them, like if you were doing a 13 match, that would go fast.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's an easy gift. Patty has different things on her website where she has the frames. You can buy these little frames that she puts them into.
Oh,
And she has,
cute.
the other thing is she does sticks where you could mount it onto a stick.
Oh, nice,
a,
nice. Does the shank attach to the stick?
The shank, yeah, so we go
Cute.
through that. Through a painted what do you call it? A dowel, painted dowel. So she has those.
Oh, darling.
She uses all kinds of different things. And it's just go to the craft store, you go to Hobby Lobby, you go to wherever you buy your stuff. They have tons of containers and things to put,
Add them.
to add them to. Yeah. And I don't know, it's just an easy, quick gift. I'm
Yes.
trying to get caught up on them. So I have them when I need them. So
You're so good. You're
Yeah.
so good.
anyway,
Well, I'm so glad you showed me how to do it because I have seen, I felt like it wasn't that hard, but seeing you do it live, like makes you know that it's just not that hard. And it's fixable if
it's fixable as demonstrated, unfortunately, but
it's okay.
you can do it. So
Yes, Megan and I have finished things live before where hers didn't quite work out and mine did, and that was just luck of the draw.
right.
So yeah, it's fun to see what happens, and
Right.
you know, nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? So
Nope. You just all learning curve,
Okay.
all learning curve.
well, awesome. Well, thank you for spending time with us. If you are joining us for the first time, you being our audience today, please hit that subscribe button because that helps other stitchers find us. We all hear in the shop regularly, as does Megan in her shop, about how much people have learned from this, from really more like people like Anne and other people that are guests. So it's really fun to just be able to share the knowledge. So
Yep.
hit subscribe, join us again, and we appreciate you spending time with us. Thanks.
Thank
and
you.
Thank you, Anne.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Bye.